The NBA and Monday Night Football be damned. We've got NBA DFS to dig into. Of course, the process begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're to look at my projections compared to some of the industry leaders out there. In particular, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the top value plays are. We'll go game by game, check out ownership. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim without my interference. I'll do a hand build. We'll see how that sims out. And by the end of this video, guys, we're going to know all the industry's must plays along with my splash plays for today's December 15th NBA slate. Let's get into it. Hope it was a good weekend for you guys. It is a very cold, snowy one here on the East Coast, but hope that you guys are not literally in the snow right now listening to this. That would make me sad if you were in the snow, having to listen to my meandering around, but I appreciate you guys being here as always. And again, let's strap in. Only a couple days really till Christmas, so there is a lot here going on in the world, and we're just humble servants of NBA gambling as it goes on. Top projected plays right now, though. We got Nikola Jokic, 12.7 salary today. My projection about 4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic's. Same situation for Denver that we have been in basically for weeks at this point. No Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown. Nikola Jokic, though, on paper, a tougher matchup than he usually will face going against Houston at home today, but still 119 implied points for Denver, 236.5 total for the game is one of the highest on the slate as well. So despite a matchup against a tough Houston team, does seem like we want to be on Jokic today, or maybe on some Nuggets that are not Jokic. Jokic here, 16% ownership for the field. I am at 52. Pretty big stand on an expensive player, but clearly he seems worth it today, with that projection being about 15 fantasy points higher than the next guy. And according to Stokastic data, let's say 12 to 14 points higher the next highest projected guy. Shoveling at 10 p.m. last night. That's awful. We shoveled yesterday morning, got ahead of it, and then thankfully it's not that icy, so no more shoveling since. But the shoveling continues on until morale improves. Jaylen Brown, $9,700 salary here. Peyton Pritchard is a Q tag, but he's in the data set, so we're not getting any sort of uptick in production for Jaylen Brown because of that. But we are getting Jaylen Brown projected well because number one, he's had pretty great usage on the year. 36% usage rate for him, along with a 25% assist rate, overall averaging about 1.34 fantasy points per minute. But besides that, though, for Jaylen Brown, really the salary at 9,700, I think looks pretty good. I do have Jaylen Brown projected a little bit higher than Cade Cunningham. Certainly, most of the industry projections will go the other way on that. So if you want to default to the markets, play Cade more than I am playing Jaylen Brown. But right now, the ownership does favor Jaylen Brown, 24% for the field. I'm getting 35. Cade Cunningham at 7%, and a much more expensive price tag at 10.7 compared to Jaylen Brown's $9,700 salary. So for Jaylen Brown, I think the projection looks good. I think he looks good. I think it feels a lot better, though, if we get Peyton Pritchard out. And me and the Celtics today, they are facing Detroit. And Detroit has been a team that we have seen occasionally inhibit, wing production. Jalen Johnson famously, as I mentioned, last time we had him on a slate, and he played Detroit again and played really well against them. But the time before that, he had played Detroit. The only team that he put up 50 fantasy points against, while he's put up 70 burgers against everybody else. That's Detroit for you. They are a pretty good defense, definitely a little bit better than league average. So not quite OKC. Jaylen Brown should be fine. But still a lot of ownership for Jaylen Brown because he's in about a third of my lineups, and the field's about 25%. Cade Cunningham, 7% for the field. I am at 1. As you guys know, if you watch the streams on a regular basis, Cade generally a little bit lower for me than for industry data. Part of that is because of Jalen Duren, our thumbnail boy for today, and how he projects well, and he still continues to put up about 30.6 points per 100 possessions. For comparison, Cade's at 35.8. So certainly Cade scores more, but it's really not that big of a gap as it might seem on paper. For Cade, though, all the opportunity in the world to get a bunch of shots up. Going against Boston, though, generally decent wing defense, even though on the year they are giving up about 116 points per 100 possessions, which is not a great number. I think for Cade Cunningham, I'm cool, not really juking my numbers to get more of him. That said, you could see all these other top projected plays. You got Jokic at 16%, Jaylen Brown at 24%, Harden, who's now a Q tag, at 38%, Anthony Davis at 31%, and it's also FanDuel ownership, so that's why I have 0. The point being, you have a lot of guys who are high priced getting ownership. Cade's the only one who's not, so that alone kind of makes a case for why Cade may be a valid play. James Harden, FanDuel only play, looks decent to me. That said, he's a Q tag right now, so if he does not play, certainly more opportunity to go around for the rest of the Clippers. But Harden, I have at 47.5 DK points today. Stokastic at 46.1. So if you're playing the late slate and Harden does play, do you think he is worth whatever ownership he's going to have? Anthony Davis, 31% ownership. He is also a Q tag right now. I'm getting him at 12. For Anthony Davis, he just really hasn't been as good of a producer as he has been historically in this Maverick stint this year. Still averaging 1.44 fantasy points per minute, but overall on the team, you have one, two, three, four guys, not including D'Angelo Russell, who's out today, who are all putting up about 22%, 25% usage, and that's Flag, PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, Brandon Williams. Really isn't just unencumbered, pure usage for AD every single game. He on the year has 28% usage, not as much as he would get in a lot of spots last year for the Lakers. So for AD, he just kind of looks a little bit worse for me. And Steven pointing out here, Davis and Gafford at shoot around. So they're both in the data set, but yeah, Davis at shoot around. Maybe he will play here. With him as a Q tag, I certainly would have been open to him not playing. This is the second last game of the slate at 9 p.m. So hopefully you get confirmation AD isn't officially. But he looks like a very chalky play. I'm not there as much. Would rather spend my money on Jaylen Brown personally because I do have him about 4 fantasy points higher. Alperen Şengün, 15% for the field. I am at 5, not looking as good to me as Nikola Jokic, if you could afford him. But Şengün certainly has the upside. I feel like it's hard for me to play really any of the Rockets when you have the entire team at full strength, and that's what they are at this point. But Şengün, 9,300 power forward center, certainly has a ceiling, and going against Jokic, I feel like he's played up. This is totally anecdotal. I do feel like he's played up to the Jokic matchup a few times before. So for Şengün, not getting there, but I get it. I get why the field's there at 15% on a 4-game slate. Jamal Murray, 12% for the field. I'm at 17. He looks pretty good for me. Again, same situation here for Denver. We have so many guys missing, Jamal Murray and Jokic, and to a much lesser extent, really. Peyton Watson, to me, kind of always look playable every slate. The price tags with Murray coming down a little bit, $8,700 salary. I think he is in play, even though not a priority play. Scotty Barnes at 9K. We still have no RJ Barrett, though he has apparently been cleared to return to basketball activities this week, so he should be back in some point fairly soon. For right now, though, Barnes fully priced up for his time without RJ Barrett. And today you have a match with Miami that is a pace up. Miami, a really good defense, despite playing, a few more possessions overall. Only 112.3 points given up per 100 possessions by Miami. That is towards the lower part of the league. So for Toronto here, Scotty Barnes at power forward. Not crazy about him. Think I'd rather go Emmanuel quickly if I'm going to play a Raptor. He's a little bit cheaper at 7K, and he does produce fairly well, but Barnes is your top per-minute Raptor producer. Obviously, the slate-breaking upside that he brings, it could happen any game. So I'm not going to poo-poo the 20% ownership, even though I am much lower right now at about 7%. We got Kawhi Leonard, FanDuel only. Looks decent to me, $8,400 salary. I don't think you need to leave this chat, but I appreciate the sentiment. Hi, bud. Not feeling the slate. You take care now. Thanks. You can just not watch, but I guess I appreciate the positivity. Yeah, not every NBA slate you have to play. I still play every NBA slate because especially when there's NFL going on, you find people's attention more distracted. And, last week I won on a Tuesday, but I do think in general, I've had pretty good results on, Monday, Thursday slates because it's smaller fields and people just aren't paying attention. So follow your heart. It's your money. Spend it as you want, as we always talk about here. Lauri Markkanen. So it's kind of weird. Yusuf Nurkic out today for Utah. Markkanen this year with Nurkic and Walker Kessler out. Not playing well. 0.99 fantasy points per minute for Lauri Markkanen this year with those guys unavailable. Markkanen still overall 27% usage, has only been hitting 55% of his shots true shooting wise. So that might be part of why he's underperforming a little bit. But it's kind of odd because Keontae George with the centers out, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Kyle Filipowski, who's going to be mega chalk, we'll talk about in a moment, averaging 1.1. Kevin Love averaging 1 flat. Even Kyle Anderson averaging 1.1. It's a little odd to see Lauri Markkanen be an appreciably worse player without, a true center out there. So it's something to note here with the field kind of owning him a decent amount. I don't want to be under on Lauri Markkanen, given that my projection's a little bit higher. But I also am not docking his rates for the fact that he has been worse. And it's been about 500 possessions without Nurkic or without Walker Kessler. Would have thought he would gain some rebound rate or something, and he doesn't. So the Markkanen, fifth of the field being there, that's fine. No crazy stand here. And then we got 15% Jalen Duren. We got 40% ownership for me. That's part of why he's on the thumbnail. I thought I would have him projected well before all the data came out today. But Jalen Duren, I play him pretty much any slate. The last time out, under 10% ownership for him looked pretty good. But I think that Watch the fucking NFL. This is an NBA video. Watch the NFL video and you can hear me talk about it more, Brandon. I appreciate you, but what the fuck? Jalen Duren. We're talking basketball. Jalen Duren here. Always happy to get him when the field's a little bit under owned. Again, my data favors Duren, a little bit under on Cade Cunningham. When you make your own data, you should play your data as it lies. And that's what I do here. So Duren right now in 40% of my lineups, fields at 15. Practically, if I got 30%, that'd be more than enough because the field's not there a lot. We're going to sort by value here. I'll catch up on some chats too in a moment. That I'm not just going to be browbeating people. But please do hit that like button and subscribe, guys. Goes a long way for me here, especially right now, because unfortunately, I cannot convert you guys to Stokastic signups right now. And that affiliate money, as they're dealing with whatever tech issues they have over there as a company, really inhibits my ability to make money off of what I do. And that sucks. So please help me out in a different way by hitting the like button, subscribing here, showing some love that way, because right now, these videos, until they get their shit back up and running and I convert you guys to selling stuff for them, is basically like doing pro bono work, which is whatever. But let's get the YouTube revenue up. Let's get the views up. Hit that like button and subscribe. Help me out here if you can. And of course, join the channel. It's $5 to join as a supporter. If you want to get my data updated throughout the night, join one of the Squirt Squad tiers. You get either the matchup screen or my exportable projections, which as long as you know the platform you're working on, you could use them anywhere. You just have to know how to use CSVs, which I know has been a bit of a pain point for some folks out there. But do join the channel, support the show here. And of course, if nothing else, hit the like button and subscribe and come back Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. because the work continues on here. Okay, this is fucking insane. I'm giving you a lap here. Watch the fucking content that I do. I'm not answering your chat for free as though we are one-on-one peers here discussing things. I appreciate the kind words, Brendan, but figure your shit out. NBA values today. Kyle Filipowski got $5,400 salary. And I appreciate Grizaire here trying to help. But yes, that's unfucking real. The entitlement just drives me fucking nuts, guys. Please don't do shit like that. Kyle Filipowski, 71% ownership, fields at 64. He looks good. He will likely be starting today for Yusuf Nurkic. Oscar Tshiebwe, unavailable, so we don't have to consider really any other centers. Filipowski, let's look at Utah's games lately because he's probably been getting enough run to be conceptually playable even with Nurkic not in. Yeah, Filipowski, last game with Nurkic in, played 19 minutes. Generally, without Nurkic, we're assuming high 20s minutes overall. That said, for Filipowski here, mega chalk, but he's power forward and center. So for Filipowski, a lot of ownership going his way. It seems like he's worth it. Not in every lineup play because he's kind of expensive for that. But really can shoot some threes, rebounds a little bit more. Again, has averaged 1.1 fantasy points per minute with the other bigs of note. Kessler, who's out for the year, and Nurkic is out today. Filipowski's been a good producer, so think he is very much worth whatever ownership he gets. And right now I'm getting him in about 70% of my lineups. Harden is a Q tag, but not on the DK main slate. Yes, and there we go. Yeah, I appreciate Parker chiming in. I appreciate that help. Ryan Nembhard here, 2x ownership for me, 64%, fields at 31. We don't really have any value on the slate. So that's another thing we always talk about here. You get your Jamal Sheds, you get your Goga Batatses on some slates. When you don't have real value in the NBA, you still want to get value somewhere, and that kind of becomes your guys who are rotational pieces. You know, Nembhard's case, a starter. And for Nembhard too, no D'Angelo Russell, so that helps him out a bit too. But I think for Ryan Nembhard here, not a guy I've been super stoked about. I think he is now getting to a more reasonable expectation of what he should be at. To me, he's like a 0.8, 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy. On the year, he's now down to averaging 0.89. So that's where he should be. Assist rate's pretty high for him at 40%, but his brother also contributes a lot of assists. So not that not that fucking matters, but you know, really is one of those things where like, I think he can hold at these rates, even though the assist rate does seem a little bit lofty. But for Ryan Nembhard, usage has been down a good amount. He looks good. He's not mega chalk, but he is chalky for me with about 2x the field's ownership at 64% and the field at 31. Santi Aldama on that Clippers Memphis late slate game / FanDuel only game. 22% ownership is the FanDuel number here. My projection looks good for him, and I am incorporating FanDuel stuff as much as I can, so keep that in mind. But Aldama, not a play on the DK slate, so it doesn't matter that much to me. But still no Zach Edey for another, 3.5 weeks. Asar Thompson, fields at 19%. I am at 40. My projection is about 0.8 higher, so that's part of it. But really, he's 5,100, and at small forward, there are not a lot of guys in that price range. And like this has worked out a few times. OG Anunoby a couple slates ago at 5,900, power forward only. And I mentioned like he looks like a great play because he's really the only power forward you could play here. And you kind of need that salary to get the guys who actually have spike upside around him. That ended up being the case for OG Anunoby 2 slates. For Asar Thompson, I think that's the case again today with a $5,100 salary here and about 2x the field's ownership. So Asar Thompson, to me, not a great play, about a 1 fantasy point per minute play, but certainly looks good enough here with that projection and not an unreasonable salary. We got Tobias Harris, same thing here, 4,800 power forward. Not a great projection for me at 26.1, but it is higher than Stokastic's at 25. Fields at 19%, I'm getting 37. Asar Thompson and Tobias Harris, they're different players, obviously, but as relative to this Detroit offense, Detroit team, really, they're kind of the same guy to me. Their price tags also indicate they are kind of the same guy. Getting one of them, getting both of them is fine. I'd feel better about it if you didn't have Cade Cunningham in a lineup with them. But really, the Detroit guys, I think, look pretty good today, mostly because their prices seem kind of low for a not terrible total against Boston. Check the @SplashPlay. All right, I feel like you guys have to be doing a bit. Check the @SplashPlay pod channel if you want to see my showdown video. And I will also be on Stokastic live before lock today. Thank you, Steven, for also chiming on that one. And sorry to hear for this one from Colin. Naylor last night almost won me all the money. I did not play Naylor. I did McCarthy captain with Jefferson and Addison, so I was not team Naylor. It really is a fucking shame how Jefferson is not getting any upside at all with JJ McCarthy, but glad to see JJ playing better. Walter Clayton here, 3,500. Oops, I just kicked the camera there. Walter Clayton, cheap price tag here, much like Ryan Nembhard. He's coming up as a value because we just don't have real value on the slate. That said, Nembhard is a starter playing real minutes, a 20-minute projection. Clayton's got about 20-minute projection here. For Walter Clayton, 28% ownership for the field. I'm at 45. It doesn't feel so great, but Utah's total is kind of shockingly high here. Dallas, a defense I've been respecting for the most part this year. But today, Dallas, Utah is the highest total on the slate. So does seem like you're getting more of the Utah guys than I would have expected today because of that. Keep trying to upload the projections, and I'm uploading to see. Okay, you have to know. I don't know what you guys are uploading stuff on, and I've talked to the guys in the Discord about this too. People are apparently using DFS Armies Optimizer more than I would have ever thought possible. I would not use that. Use the solver if you're using an optimizer. Get that one. Use Stokastic Sim. I could support those, but if you can't figure out how to use a CSV, I don't know how to help you. You just take the data, you put it in the format that you need for the thing you're uploading to, but I can't create data for every product in the world. Nobody does that. So I can't help further than that. Just figure out what your formatting is that you have to upload into and then paste the stuff in there. That's the best I can tell you. I'm sorry, I can't help more, but like, I'm just selling the data. I'm not selling how to handhold you on how to use an optimizer. It was really frustrating for you on Friday because everybody's hit me up on a Friday night. And I don't know what to tell you guys, but please figure it out. All right. I don't like you. Please. Sorry. Bad vibes in the chat. And I'm not going to give any more. James Harden looking good as a value. If you are playing that late slate, slash the FanDuel slate, if you are not though, James Harden, not a player that matters. Q tag on him though. We'll be dragging on late. Jalen Duren, we've talked about. Zubac, again, late slate slash FanDuel only. Peyton Watson at 5,700, 4x the exposure for me. As like I mentioned, Jokic always coming up for me. Murray always coming up for me. Peyton Watson always coming up for me. These guys are really the key nuggets to get to at this point with the price tags not being that crazy. And then Neemias Queta, 29% for me. Fields at 16. For Neemias Queta here, another player who has played pretty well on the year. Do you think he'll be in good position today with the fact that Duren will be hovering around the rim a lot? It's not one of those cases where you'll stretch out the big man and kind of get him out of position so he won't get as many rebounds. But sometimes you run into matchups where you have two good rebounders, they end up kind of boxing each other out. So I think there's upside for Queta. I think this is something where really don't feel like he's a must-have play, but I am getting more than the field at 29%, Fields at 16. Brandon, you're in timeout because it's fucking insane to ask me an NFL question just for yourself. And I just mentioned watch the video, and now you get another timeout. I got to tell you guys, if you don't get it here from watching the videos, the chat is like supposed to be an additive part from my part of the show. If it's not, I just take you out of the chat. So I don't want to make it members only, but we're getting close to that stage at this point. So please just get what we're doing here, and it'll be easier for everybody. Let's go game by game, though, guys, because again, I got to do the work no matter how annoying people are. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We're going to take a game by game view of things. And of course, your support does go a long way for me here. And some people, some people are better off watching than participating. That's all good. Just get whatever you want out of the video. Ultimately, I'm just talking about and showing you my gambling process for the day in a rhythm that makes sense for me. And it's not about answering your individual questions. It's not about that. It's just about doing the process here. That's the work that we do. Want to play DFS against Brendan? Yeah, he can't even figure out what sport videos he's watching. So it might be helpful. But he's like, I appreciate the kind words. I do you got to do shit the way that I want it or else it doesn't add value to me. Detroit, 113.5 implied points. Boston, 116 implied points here. Cade Cunningham, we've talked enough about my negative stand on him. That said, for Jalen Duren, getting him appreciably above the field. Asar Thompson, appreciably above the field. Tobias Harris, appreciably above the field. These guys are not going to be crazily owned, but they are pretty noteworthy stands for me. I think it'll be a competitive game, Detroit-Boston, to me. Kind of feels like a little bit of the passing of the guard, kind of passing of the torch thing, where Detroit's a team I expect to be competitive this entire year. Boston, I'm not sure if they're going to hold in all year long. But I think for Detroit here, getting Cade more, certainly if my projections seem high for Duren, Thompson, and Tobias Harris, that'd be fine. And at that point, if my projections are too high for these guys, probably nobody here is a good play. And I think that's what the ownership kind of looks like. You don't want to play against anybody, you can't upload a CSV. That's true. If you can't figure that out, that'd be tough. No, but it's I think guys are having issue because the projections are just projections, and you can't just upload a CSV that doesn't fit the format of what you're uploading into. And I know this is inside the weeds, but no disrespect to anybody out there. If you don't know how to upload CSVs to your optimizer, I don't think you should be playing DFS at any sort of volume, really. So got to figure that part out before you pay me for projections. I'm not trying to be rude, but it fucking blows my mind. That's what it is. Boston 160, but this is also if you guys were new here, I apologize, but this is your 301 level class. We're not doing 101 here, which is literally a CSV uploads to DFS sites. That's your 101 class. Boston 116 implied points here. Jalen Brown above the field for me, 35%, Fields at 24. Derek White with the field, 18 and 20. Peyton Pritchard, I'm above the field right now. He is a Q tag. If he doesn't play, everybody's here's going to look a lot better. In particular, Derek White, Jalen Brown, Jordan Walsh, I think will look appreciably better. I would have a hard time chasing his recent success, shooting unsustainably well at 71% true shooting. But if you get Peyton Pritchard out, that's one less mouth to feed who takes good usage away and takes good assist upside away. So for Peyton Pritchard, really important play to know. Thankfully, we will know it before the slate locks, so pay attention there. But Celtics, to me, looking pretty good. I think we're getting a competitive game here, and overall, the spot to me seems a little bit light for all these guys, both on Detroit and Boston, because it's not a great total, but the game environment, I think, is not awful. And for Boston's side in particular, pretty big pace up. For Detroit, pretty big pace down. Boston playing real slow this year. That is true too. If it's the same way you can't upload whatever you want on DK or FanDuel, I think sometimes there are things I take for granted as basics, and perhaps I'm not servicing that well enough. But ultimately, this is unfortunately not a basics channel, and I'm not a basics person. So that's a tough moment. But I apologize. I feel bad when but people are hitting me up 5 minutes before lock. I'm I don't know. I know what I try the best I can. Also, I'm just giving you guys my data. You got to figure out how to use it. Learn Excel, though. Learning Excel is still a very valuable skill set. Now with ChatGPT, it's probably easier than ever. Toronto, 114.5 implied points. Miami, 120 implied points. I'm low on everything Toronto here, and nothing, I think, at this point will change that. With Barrett already out, no Q tags that matter unless somebody gets ruled out late. But Barnes, to me, more than appropriately priced at 9K. Ingram, more than appropriately priced at 8K. Even quickly at 7K, I think he's a little bit cheap, and my projection looks decent enough there, but I'm only getting 11%, Fields at 15. Again, it's a pace up against Miami, but it's not like a Washington pace up where you're just getting whatever you want at high pace. You're having to earn your shots at high pace, and I don't think that's necessarily a great thing. And I think my data generally shows that, but certainly there's upside here. I'd rather play Detroit-Boston, though, personally. Miami, 120 implied points here. Bam Adebayo has been low in my data all year. That's not changing. He's really not played super well compared to how he's played historically, but still averaging 1.2 fantasy points a minute. I get it. That said, you have Hero, Norm Powell, Wiggins, Jaquez all in. It's a lot of usage that doesn't flow Bam's way. think to me, he's padding stats on days where you have 1, 2 guys out. That's when he's had the biggest ceiling. And I think that's kind of making the numbers still look like he's hanging in with where he's been historically. But to me, I think he has kind of underperformed fantasy wise this year. And I think my projections are reflecting that. But really, to me, I guess the biggest thing here is that you're getting a good amount of BAM, 24% for the field. I'm getting 3. I'm not getting Tyler Hero at all, but the field's at 11. Norm Powell, 19%. I'm at 11. Really not getting as much of this game, and I'm getting a lot more Detroit Boston. So certainly the field will be more interested in this one. I'm less interested in this one. Dallas, 120.5 implied points. And keep in mind here, the first game, that Boston-Detroit game, 7 o'clock start time. Toronto-Miami, 7:30. Then it's a bit of a break until Dallas-Utah. So for some reason, we have Anthony Davis and Gafford Q-tags hanging on. As Steven pointed out, they're at shoot-around, so you assume they'll play. But if for some reason that hangs on late, you need to know what's going on for this game at 9 p.m. tonight. It's a little bit longer. But Dallas, 120.5 implied points. Utah, 119 implied points here. Dallas AD Q tag. If he were out, everybody here would look a lot more playable. As it is, I am low on pretty much everything here besides Nembhard and Brandon Williams. We have no D'Angelo Russell, so the point guards do gain the most statistically for the 15 minutes or so Russell's not going to play, along with the fact that it'll vacate some usage, some assists for these guys. But really, I think these guys are all pretty aggressively priced. Nobody here projects over a 5x value for me, besides Nembhard and Brandon Williams. AD, I get the upside. Recent slates, he's been mega chalk, and I juked my projections to get him, and he still didn't end up being a player where I really needed to do that for. I think he, kind of like a Bam Adebayo, just not quite producing as well as he has historically. He should shoot a little bit better than 56.5% true shooting. As you guys know, league average is 58% and change for true shooting, so we generally expect guys under that to come up, especially if they are good players, and guys who are better than that to usually find their depth at some point. But AD, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, all probably due for positive regression at this point. I don't think it's a reason to play them, though, at decent ownership. Utah on their side, but Utah does suck. So certainly whatever Mav you want to play, there's a case to be made. Utah, 119 implied points here. Lowry Markkanen, I'm at 22%, Fields at 21. He has been shockingly bad, averaging under 1 fantasy point per minute with the 2 centers out, Kessler and Nurkic. Both of them are unavailable today. That said, you still kind of give him the respect here. He's averaged 1.2 fantasy points a minute, and he should shoot better at some point without the big man out there. But it is odd that he's shooting like legit 6% less in true shooting with the 2 centers out. Maybe something with spacing, I'm not sure. But Markkanen, think he's worth being with the field on. I do worry about the underlying numbers a little bit for the rates without the bigs. Keontae George, I'm at 22%, Fields at 19. Things look good enough for Keontae here to play above the field, but definitely not a big stand. Kyle Filipowski is the one you're going to want the most here as a value-ish option at 5,400. Power forward center makes it easy to play him, and he has played at a 1.1 fantasy point per minute pace without Kessler, without Nurkic on the court. Ace Bailey, I usually hate. But he is 4,700 on a slate where we don't really have a lot of value. Projected to play 30 minutes as well. He's only putting up 0.8 fantasy points a minute due to shoot better. And he needs rebounding and assisting a little bit. He's really not a guy that contributes anything besides points, though. So you kind of want to see him get to at least 15 real life points here to feel good about it. But Ace Bailey coming up a little bit. Not super exciting for me. I'm not really getting Kevin Love. Only 7% ownership. The field's at 19, though. Really no value on the slate, so getting Kevin Love is an option some people will have, though he is very unlikely to start. It's most likely going to be Filipowski going in there. Bryce Sensabaugh, another value at 3,600. Walter Clayton, another value here. It's actually getting played. I'm getting 45% ownership there. Fields at 28. But Love, Sensabaugh, both these guys around 15, 20%. Clayton around 30, Collier at 17% ownership. You are basically getting all of your cheap guys from the Jazz today that are getting any amount of ownership. And Kyle Anderson, $3K minimum salary. He's projected for about 15 minutes here, and he is a guy that has produced really well in the Jazz so far. So Jazz value, really the big thing to note. Houston, Denver. Brandon Williams downgraded. I mean, that would certainly make it be easier to click Nembhard, though. Nembhard's owned enough, but yeah, one less point guard in. That'll happen. And being downgraded for an Achilles midday probably does sound like you're not going to play. But he'll hang out in the data as a Q tag until he gets ruled out. Houston really can go fast here. 117.5 implied points, not a bad total. Nobody looks that great. I wouldn't begrudge the high ownership for Alperen Şengün, the high ownership for Kevin Durant here. Well, relatively. Fields at 15% for Şengün, 11% for Durant. I am at 5% and 2% respectively for those guys. I just don't think it's a spot here based on the price tags. And again, Houston being mostly full health, getting Tari Eason back, who's a Q tag right now, but in the data he's in. If Eason is out, I think you get Şengün and Durant closer to the field. As it is right now, these guys aren't really plays for me. Are you fucking doing a bit, Bobby? You're not even a member of the channel, so you can't have CSV questions. But you can upload my CSV. You shouldn't have access if you're not a member. Denver, 119 implied points. And also, I want to strangle you all. Denver, 119 implied points. Nikola Jokic coming in above the field for me here. He's in half my lineups. Field's only at 16. Jokic is always higher projected for me for whatever reason. But basically, he does a little bit of everything. He can put up all the fantasy points in a short amount of time. We all know that at this point. Going against Houston should be competitive throughout. He also will be facing a tough defense. But that said, the price tag at 12.7 seems low enough. My projection is still at 66.5 fantasy points. Jamal Murray, 17% for me in my top 150. Fields at 12. Peyton Watson, 25%. Fields at 7. Tim Hardaway Jr., I'm at 8. Jonas Valanciunas, I'm at 8. Nothing too noteworthy here besides Jokic and Peyton Watson, who always seems to make lineups for me. My projection is about 3 fantasy points higher than Stokastic's, though, on Peyton Watson. No, I would not sell lineups. That's, in fact, not a thing you're allowed to do. And that is also a thing that only scammers do. So, no, I would not. No, I would not. You have to manually edit 150. Well, that's probably not the way to play. My thought. But let's see what Stokastic has for us. I don't know what you guys are doing. What am I appealing to? Like, I preach to you guys tools and data every day. And so you're hand building 150? No, it's not. CSV is not crazy. CSV is a very easy thing to do. That's how every successful player does it. I'm sure maybe Ugly 8 Game, I know you've won a few, but you are swimming upstream, my friend, if you are doing it that way. Let's look at the Stokastic Sims here. Okay, thank God. It's like, because I know you've won something lately. If you were doing all your shit manually, I would really worry for you. But you could tell my like trying to be nice. Thank God. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. The trolls are abundant today. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what it is. But Ugly 8 Game's not a troll. And again, I think he won a tournament like last week, if I'm remembering correctly. So that was why I was like, holy fucking shit. But guys, please show some love. Hit the like button, subscribe. Again, if you watch these channels, you know I am just going to talk about things honestly and earnestly when I am here. That means when we are doing dumb shit collectively as a group, when you guys are doing dumb shit, when I'm doing dumb shit, we talk about it all here. But ultimately, I still show up and do the work here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. for the NBA. So please help me out. Hit the like button and subscribe, especially because right now, making less money on stuff because I can't convert affiliate things. But also join the channel too. You want to get my data here. You want to learn how CSV exports work. You can download my data, upload it wherever you want, as long as you know how CSVs work. But check it out for yourself here on the channel. Join down below. $5 to support. If you want my data, join one of the Squirt Squad tiers and get it updated throughout the night. But let's look at Stokastic Sims here with no interference. I'm the Macy's of DFS. I was watching a competitor earlier there, the Temu. Oh, wow. I'll take that. Do you have, what are these questions? Do you have to do a ton of lineups or can you win with one? Thanks. I've won 60 grand on 5 lineups in a large field tournament. I still generally believe you need to put in a lot to have the most success. Most people can't afford to do that though. So in general, if you are playing 1 to 5 entries in a large tournament, you should just be treating it like the lottery and be willing to lose that money every single night. If you are maxing stuff out, you should probably win once a month, ideally, to keep your bankroll afloat. But I don't think this is a real question anyway. We got our top ROI lineup according to Stokastic data. So you saw what my data overlaid in a sim looks like. Now we'll see what a sim without my involvement looks like. Thank you, Nolan. Is it better to score a lot of points or a little bit of points? Depends what you can upload via CSV, I think is the way to answer that. Isaiah Collier, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Tobias Harris, Kyle Filipowski, Ryan Nembhard, Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray. Full 50K salary used here. A lot of Mavericks with Flagg, PJ, Nembhard, and AD. I mean, look, that's the highest total game here. Utah and Dallas. So this lineup is really leaning into it. Number 2, we have Anthony Simons, Cooper Flagg, Asar Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Jalen Duren, Ryan Nembhard, Anthony Davis, Kyle Filipowski. Cooper Flagg in your top 2 ROI lineups, a little bit surprising. But definitely a Mavs lean here with Flagg, Anthony Davis, both of those. I don't think you should be playing high stakes, my friend, with these questions being asked. You see Hoop winning high stakes. Guys like Hoop, Mike Leone in football, they are very smart and have been playing this game for like 15 years. So be mindful of what works for somebody who's been playing this game for the entire time it's existed. May not work for the average person. Just keep that in mind. High stakes is very difficult. The best players in the world play high stakes every day. Most people are better off putting 20 entries into the quarter arcade. If you can't afford that, do the dime or whatever. Please don't spend a lot of money if you don't, until you really have a good process down and know what you're doing. Unless you're just going to spend the money for entertainment, then don't spend a lot. Brandon Williams at number 3, Brandon Ingram, along with him, double Brandons. Asar Thompson, Anthony Davis, Jalen Duren, Ryan Nembhard, Kyle Filipowski again, Jakob Poeltl. Filipowski makes all the top 3 lineups so far. Looks like he's actually in 4 out of the top 5. Not a surprise. He's probably your best play in the slate right now. Isaiah Collier, a number 4 ROI lineup, leads it off. Derek White, Karis LeVert, Anthony Davis, Jalen Duren, Ryan Nembhard, Lowry Markkanen, Kyle Filipowski. Surprised to see Karis LeVert making it. I don't know why he would. McCollier, a less-known version of Walter Clayton. Kind of get why he's making it in. Number 5, Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Davis, Jalen Duren, Ryan Nembhard, Ace Bailey, and Isaiah Collier here as well. So that's a lot of Collier, a lot of Filipowski, a lot of Anthony Davis, a lot of Ryan Nembhard. Very similar commonalities here. If you know what you're doing, high stakes can be better. If you don't know what you're doing, high stakes, you will bleed your money infinitely faster. And I don't think if you know how to use the CSV correct, not view value, but in general, but if anybody, like, if you're struggling with that, please don't enter high stakes, because you are just begging to give your money away. And that's not good for the DFS ecosystem to give all your money away when you could play. Like, ideally, you want your bankroll to last a long period of time. So just keep that in mind. We got Isaiah Collier, negative 4% ROI. Ryan Nembhard, negative 5% ROI at number 2. Ignore the negative numbers here. We're looking for directional accuracy. We got Anthony Davis, negative 7% ROI here. We got, all right, I'm just gonna get rid of you guys. Sorry. Channel's not for everybody. Keep in mind, when I flip the switch to members only chats, this is going to be the reason why. You can thank these guys. I'm sorry. I'm focusing on my part here. Anthony Davis, negative 7% ROI. Asar Thompson, negative 8% ROI. Jakob Poeltl, negative 9. So your top 5 guys: Collier, Nembhard, Anthony Davis, Asar Thompson, Jakob Poeltl. Our top 5 guys here. My boy Jalen Duren, not too far behind. Cooper Flagg, the Sim seems to like, along with all the Mavericks. They're coming in a good amount. Top exposures here. I appreciate this earnest answer by Steven here. Picking the right contests and managing your bankroll is so important. I had someone telling me they get killed in NFL, and I'm like, don't play or try cash. Yes, that's also fair. I mean, look, people want to play NFL because that's where the glory is, and that's the sport they like the most. But ultimately, yes, making your bankroll something that you can manage. Ideally, you don't want to have 10% of your bankroll, more than that, on stake in a given slate. But ultimately, like, it's all subject to personal tolerance, what you can afford, what you cannot. For most people, though, I would recommend, like, you got to be willing to lose a month of money if you're trying to win a particular tournament. It's a lot easier to do that when you are spending that on, your cheaper stuff, your 20 maxes, your whatever. Most of you out there, me included, cannot afford to lose a month of the, 150 max large field tournament, answering that every night. When I had my biggest NBA DFS wins, I had won about 100K in a month of NBA DFS a couple years back. I started entering the nightly big tournaments, and I would have nights where I'm losing 3K, and it's not fun, especially if you're not that kind of player. Just keep that in mind. Thank you, Ugly 8 Game. Yeah, you're good to go now. We'll teach you all the Excel you need to know, but join the Discord, Ugly 8 Game. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you being one of the smart ones. And what is with these dudes today? It's a free video. I don't know, man. I think people realize that if they troll like in an obvious way, then I just ban them. And if they troll in like a less obvious way where they just pretend to be completely retarded, that then I hate using the R word, but like quite literally, that maybe then I'll engage more. But I don't know. It's probably me thing. I treat the chat like you guys are like my co-pilot here, and I try to reply to every chat. So when there's just an entire screen of dumb shit chats, it doesn't help out my process. So that's why I'm extra brusque. Besides just who I am. Your top exposed players, though, in Stokastic data here, I just have to laugh it off. We got 80% exposure for Kyle Filipowski, Fields at 64. So big stand on him. Again, he's your best play on the slate. If I had, really thought it through, I would put him on the thumbnail, but the projection data wasn't out yet. Or the minute data wasn't out yet, so I couldn't make my projections. As it is, though, Filipowski, very obvious best play on the slate. And if he doesn't start, then, bump him down, but he still probably would get to more than enough of the minutes. Ryan Nembhard, 63% exposure in Stokastic data, Field 61. I was getting a lot of him. Getting to look better as well if Brandon Williams actually is out. But right now, we already have Russell out. So Nembhard, a solid play and pretty cheap for a guy who was playing starter level run. Anthony Davis, massive stand in favor of him. 57% exposure, Fields at 31. It's a lot of Anthony Davis. My data really doesn't support it. Certainly, if you defer to the longer-term sample size of who AD has been as a player, I think you will get him more. That said, I don't foresee myself getting to 2x the field on Anthony Davis. Worst case, I mean, most realistic case for me is I'll get with the field on it, and that would be me kind of having to ignore my numbers. Isaiah Collier, rather, 53% exposure, Fields at 18. I'm getting more Walter Clayton, but it does seem like Stokastic giving you Collier a good amount, giving you Clayton a good amount as well at 26% exposure. It does seem like it favors Collier, though, as a better value of your pay down Utah guards. And Asard Thompson, 42% exposure, Fields at 21. Again, really just the price tag works. Him and Tobias Harris, very similar, though it does seem like Stokastic does like Asard Thompson and is just with the field on Tobias Harris. Most positively leveraged plays. Isaiah Collier, 34% more in the field. Really big stand on him. I'm not sure that'll hold, but he is pretty cheap, and he will be in the rotation for Utah. Ryan Nembhard, 32% more in the field. Really hard to critique that today. Again, I am not the biggest Ryan Nembhard fan. Felt like people were a little bit too excited to play him because he had 1 or 2 big games. But he's now leveling out at the player he is. He's in the rotation, and he's competent enough, does assist at a pretty high level, even though the usage has kind of fallen off of a cliff. Nembhard, I think a good value play at 4,500 if nothing better opens up. And even if it does, I think he's still in play no matter what. Anthony Davis, 26% more in the field. I just don't agree with it, but we can leave it at that. Asard Thompson, 21% more in the field. Price tag works. Positionality at small forward works pretty well. And Kyle Filipowski, great value play, 16% more in the field, despite being your chalkiest play on the slate at 64% expected ownership. Negative leverage plays here. Brandon Williams, they are fading, negative 19% compared to the field's 29% ownership. Obviously, if he doesn't play, that'll come down even more. Norm Powell, negative 13% leverage. He's being faded pretty meaningfully. Only 5% exposure when the field's at 17. Brandon Ingram, negative 12% leverage. Stokastic's at 6% exposure. Fields at 18. And Alperen Sengun, negative 10%, just ahead of Lauri Markkanen, who is a negative 8% leverage. Some pretty noteworthy fades here. Low on Ingram, low on Sengun, low on Markkanen. Okay. They would be low on Peyton Pritchard if he plays, but obviously if he doesn't play, it'll change the entire situation for Boston. And let's build a single lineup out here. There we go. Go to NBA. We're in the meta of rage bait. Really, it's hard for me to tell. It's hard for me to tell if I've been dealing with rage bait today or if it's just, just so when the views go up, you do get people that are maybe not as 100% aligned, as we view things. Wait, I can't do a sim for the main slate? Oh, Stokastic. Why can I only do a sim for the turbo slate and the night slate? What kind of bid is this? I only build for FanDuel for after hours. Well, I guess we can't do a single lineup sim. Well, you know what? Here, let's... Real fast, I would like to do the single lineup part because I feel like at this point, I'm used to doing it. I really wish Stokastic would fix their shit, man. I'm very, very appreciative of how much, I've been able to do with them over the years. But man, they're really fucking me right now in my content. We're going to build a lineup here, and it won't show you anything useful, but I will build a lineup for myself. We won't be able to sim it out here on the solver. Point guard for me. Make sure I'm sorting by everything correctly here. Point guard would be Ryan Nembhard. Nothing surprising based upon what we talked about here. All right. So let's... How do I add him? What? Isn't there some way to add this shit in? What the fuck? What am I doing wrong today? What have I done? What have I done to deserve this day besides everything I've done? It won't let me add players in. Usually you can click the plus button. All right, let me lock it. Let me lock it. That's it. All right, we'll lock the players. So point guard Nembhard. This will be a workaround. Lock Nembhard, done. Okay. Shooting guard. I think I'm thinking of their other sim product. This might be my fault. I just got to hit the lock button and it'll add the players in. Derek White, looks okay to me. I'm actually going to sort by value. But for shooting guard, Derek White would be one of those players who looks okay now, would look infinitely better if we got Peyton Pritchard out, obviously. Walter Clayton would be my highest exposed shooting guard. I do hate that. I guess let's take the Clayton value now. Clayton, lock him in. It's been a tough week. It's been one day. Tough week here. Kid had the daycare, was a late start today because of the snow. I mentioned on the NFL show as well. But kid was like 2 hours late, so I had to do that. Then I had to like scramble to get my thumbnails, data updated, whatever. And then tonight, Alex is out of town because she got her holiday party in New York. So I'm gonna be on solo dad duty while doing the live before lock show for Stokastic on NFL tonight, and also updating my NBA and my NFL. So it is a special form of hell today. So that's why I'm particularly not abiding stupidity in the chat. Sorry, as if I ever would. Oh, tough week for Stokastic users. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think they would acknowledge that as well. That's that. You can use Stokastic, but you can't join right now. If you have an account already, it works fine. But I don't believe you can join until they make a switch up tomorrow. Don't quote me on it because I don't know. I don't know everything going on over there. I just know what I hear secondhand. But yeah, that's what the status is right now, as far as I know. But the affiliate stuff, I don't know when that's going to be back up, and that's my lifeblood here. So, sucks. Sucks to suck. We got center here. I think Jalen Duren's my pick. Jokic would also be a good pick for me here. But I think we need to spend a little bit less money. So let me go Jalen Duren. Actually, no, I really want to play Jokic. I have enough money. I'm going to play Jokic. Leaves a 6,300 left for 3 spots. So that's better. Is it probably long-term hand building? Holy shit. If you're using projections, your baseline while hand building, maybe. But that's it. If you signed up when it was still working, yes, that did count. But unfortunately, yeah. I mean, to be real about it, basically what happened is like, I think they have to like re-look up the data and figure out. And I used to have a dashboard where I could see like how things are converting, but now the code doesn't work. There's no like affiliate link, and I can't see how much I'm making. So it's like real stressful for when it's me doing that. Okay, now we're just doing bits. First time playing DFS, and I did the 555 on FanDuel's a good contest. Yes. Yes, it's a great contest. I know you guys are doing bits now. The real answer is no, but for the sake of the bit, yes, please lose all your money in one night. That's what we're rooting for here. Other guards, you boys keep me young / kill me. Brandon Williams would be the play, but he's going to likely be out now. And I probably don't want to play him with Nemhard anyway. Boy, guard is just awful, man. Like, there's really, like, point guard's okay. I think I'll go Keontae George here. He's produced really well without the centers. Field's going to play a good amount of marketing. I'll go Keontae George. Forward. This isn't even a full sentence. It's impossible to single it. Oh, to me to cash it within it. For you, no. You could do it. You could be the one that does it really well. Forward here. Tobias would be the one, I think, for me. Peyton Watson, I also don't mind. Ace Bailey, I don't mind. Got 5,500 left for 2 spots. Let's go Ace Bailey here, I guess. That's a lot. That's a lot of jazz. Let's not go Ace Bailey here. Let's go Tobias. So we're not playing Cade. Playing 2 Detroit Wings. 6,200 left for one more player. Our options, Jaime Jaquez, Davion Mitchell, Peyton Watson. Okay. I think we've had enough for Ringo. Good try. So this is going to be my lineup here, which we could do nothing with. But final lineup, Ryan Nembhard, Walter Clayton, Asar Thompson, Kyle Filipowski, Nikola Jokic, Keontae George, Tobias Harris, Peyton Watson. So that's the build here. We unfortunately can't sim it out because there are not sims on the solver, and Stokastic Sim does not have the main slate available. But gosh darn it, we tried our best today, and I appreciate that. Watson has taken advantage of Aaron Gordon being out for me. He had like a 50-point game with Aaron Gordon being out, and he's put up, I mean, overall with Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown off the court, he's averaged 0.85 fantasy points a minute, which is nothing special, but that's enough at the price tag. And thank you for Nolan here for the super chat. Make sure to pay your fee for Spags answering stupid questions. That is true. Please do that. I'll give you guys my splash plays for the day, which you probably have a good idea of based upon that single lineup build. But before I do that, please do make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It has been a really fun video for me today. But ultimately here, no matter what happens, I show up and do the work, and I hope for better days the next time out here, Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. Doing the best I can. Hit that like button and subscribe. And of course, it will go a long way for me here, fighting the YouTube algorithm, and maybe even finding viewers that ask really good questions too. And join the channel too if you want to support the show. If you want to ask dumb questions, I'm probably going to be slightly more tolerant if you have a paid avatar here. Or if you're on the Discord as well, $5 to join. And again, come in there if you want to use my data, you can as well, but know how CSVs work, please, before you go sign up for the Squirt Squad tiers. You can also get my projections updated throughout the night, matchup screens you see here on the stream as well. So please check it out and join down below and support this content. So that's that. Okay, let's go. I'm a max entry, bro. And then we're doing troll chats. It's very easy just to mute accounts, guys. And that's it. All right. Slash plays for the day, guys. Before I just jump off a bridge here live on stream. It has to be Kyle Filipowski. Again, not a brave take, but he should probably be the first guy that you look at putting in a lineup on here. Besides him, Ryan Nembhard as a value. He's another one. Really hard to ignore these guys unless better value opens up somehow, and I don't think that's going to be the case based upon the injury report. Besides those guys, I think Jalen Duren / Nikola Jokic, 2 centers, I'll be above the field on. They are really meaningful stands for me. A lot of other stuff I'm just kind of with the field on. Peyton Watson, I'm above the field on. Walter Clayton as another value. I think that's it. It's just constant, true. I just won at first place last week, right? Like, I know we're doing troll stuff right now, but okay. Either way, guys, those are your splash plays. Let's call it a day. Thanks for hanging out. If you are one of the people that is just making troll accounts, I don't know, man. Find joy somewhere else. I'll just mute you and we all move on, and that's it. But please gamble responsibly, guys, especially if you are one of the chosen few that seemingly has no idea what is going on in a given slate, even though it is always money time here on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at Splashplay Bets on YouTube, at Splashplay Pod on YouTube, or on at Splashplay Pod on Twitter. And I will see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. And I don't think I can hit the outro now either because something broke here on StreamYard. Sick stuff. All right. Bye, guys. Catch you later. Watch me sit here awkwardly with my peace sign up. Do.